YouTube! Welcome to Trade Tuesday again. Getting Trade Tuesday 2 weeks in a row this week. It's not Tuesday just now, by the way. I'm off to... It might have even been last week's Trade Tuesday. I went to Coatbridge and picked up... No, it must have been 2 weeks ago. Picked up a Jedson Telecaster and a Squire Strat off a guy who's a bit of a guitar nut himself. There's lots of us about. When I was talking to him, he said, oh, he's got a couple of guitars that are in bits in his garage, which I don't think is exactly, is right next to his house. I think he's got like a garage that's, you know, around the corner. So I'm going to pick up another 3 guitars. 2 of them he says are garbage, and one of them is quite interesting. I mean, they all look sort of interesting. There's a black Les Paul, a satellite one, looks like it's got no hardware on it. A bit interested in that, because Satellite's one of those brands that everyone remembers kicking about. I don't remember before my time, but they were your cheapy guitars of the day. And I think there's a huge variance in quality with Satellite guitars. I think you do get good ones, but you also get really cheap, nasty ones. So I don't know what this one is. It doesn't, from the picture, it doesn't have any hardware on it. The next guitar is, I'm sure he said it was a Hondo Flying V, but he might have said it was a Hondo Les Paul neck on a Flying V. So I'm not really, it's basically it's a Flying V with a Les Paul neck on it. I don't think it's got any hardware. And the scratch plate on it's broken as well. So that'd be interesting. I'm not really sure what to do with that. I've got a thing with Flying Vs that it's got to have the right sort of headstock, and the Les Paul type headstock isn't doing it for me, just from the picture. So I'm assuming the neck is okay. If the neck's okay, I may have a look at actually cutting it down and trying to make a triangle headstock out of it. Not really. These things I have to see. I'm kind of cutting it a bit fine to be back in time for the live stream. So the live stream, Sunday night live stream, I've got my bucky sitting there. I've not had any dinner yet, which is obviously a dangerous sign. So I'm going to go and see this guy and then come back for the live stream. So I'll probably have them for a wee initial look. And the last guitar is a Futurama, which is, I think it's from the 50s. Like a really old thing. I've seen a picture of it. It's the same guitar as the one George Harrison plays one. If you look at the pictures of when the Beatles are in Hamburg and they're all kind of wearing the sort of Elvis type quiffs and leather jackets and stuff, that's what George Harrison's playing one of these. This one is apparently an earlier version, a bit rarer because it's got a Telecaster style headstock on it. Looking at the pictures, it appears to have the neck and middle pickups in it. They're kind of built into the scratch plate, so I'm not really sure whether anything's going to be salvageable. It's still got the Futurama logo on the scratch plate. I think there's big chunks missing from the scratch plate, and the guy said something about putting a bridge on it, so I'd imagine the bridge might have bits missing. Also the electrics. It's got like 3 what look like light switches on it on the original model. It looks like they're missing from this one as well. So this is going to be an interesting sort of wee project. Kind of, obviously not, there is the route of going and getting the actual proper parts to fix it up and make it brand new again, but I think that could lead to hundreds of pounds worth of stuff. So I'm basically going to do a sort of sympathetic restoration. I want it playing and I want it working, and I want to keep it as original as I can, but I may have to put in, I may have to replace pickups, I may have to invent my own switching system for it. The paint on it's long gone, it's kind of looks like it's been partially sanded down. I'm not sure, again, it kind of depends. These are just things when I'm looking at it. But that's what I've been doing today basically. I've been sitting chopping up guitars and moving things about a little bit. I've got a Jackson that I got off my pal Michael Scythe. Weren't indicating. And it's been done with blood splatters. So what the guy unfortunately had done was put a BC Rich 24 fret Warlock Gibson scale neck on it, and because it didn't quite fit, he kind of extended it a little bit, and I got this 6 months ago, and he did a paid peanuts for it, whatever it was. And I thought, oh, it's one of those ones where you look at it and you go, tuners worth a fiver, bridge tenner, pickup tenner, the guitar's free type thing. So I've taken off the Warlock neck today and discovered, lo and behold, actually it hasn't actually altered the neck pocket at all, so the extra screw holes will all be hidden by the neck plate, and it'll just take a Strat neck. So I've got a Strat neck sitting on it just now. It's quite a nice Strat neck, and because it's like white with red blood spatters on it, it doesn't, for some reason I wanted to have a rosewood fingerboard. It appears I don't have a rosewood fingerboard Strat kicking about. Well, I do have one, but what I've just done with that is the Hello Kitty guitar, which I butchered, modified, and put red light up eyeballs and a distortion pedal in. One of the reasons I got that cheap, one of the reasons I got that is because someone had modified it back when they were new and they weren't worth any money. Someone had modified it, so the headstock was made sort of pointy, and it had like a Fender Duosonic scratch plate on it. So I've obviously extra routing, so I've kind of cut up bits of metal, put them on, put extra knobs in, a kill switch to sort of fill up the holes, put the original Hello Kitty scratch plate back on it, and the headstock I kind of made it look a bit like a Telecaster because there was enough wood left to do that, and it doesn't look right. But the thing about Hello Kitty guitars is the neck is just a Squier Affinity neck from the similar era. I think even the Squier Affinity I bought off this very chap last week is the same year. I think it's either maybe 2004, and the Hello Kitty's 2005, but they're both Corp and they're both within a year of each other. So I've now put the Strat neck onto Hello Kitty, and it's now a rosewood fingerboard, but it's got the full on Strat headstock, so I should hopefully be able to punt that now. Yeah, and so I've now got the Squier Affinity Tobacco Burst, which doesn't have a neck. I'm thinking of putting a Reverse Headstock Showmaster neck on it and making it into a sort of, possibly I don't know about a Stevie Ray Vaughan or not Stevie Ray, more of a sort of Hendrixy sort of thing. I do actually have a left-handed Strat scratch plate left from earlier on, which I think is only one ply, so I might be able to modify it and flip it and use it upside down on the guitar so that we get the bridge pickup at the wrong angle, like what Hendrix is, because he's obviously put it upside down. So normally the bridge pickup sits with the bassy end closer to the neck and the trebly end closer to the bridge to give you like a wider scope, whereas on Hendrix's one, because he had it upside down, you had the bassy end towards the bridge and the trebly end towards the neck. So I might be able to do that with it, and the upside down headstock. There's a wee bit of modifying needing to be done to the neck to make it fit. The Showmaster doesn't actually have a Strat neck. It's a much thinner neck. It's the right length, it's just it's not quite as rounded at the bottom, so I've got a wee bit of belt sandering to do to make that fit. Yeah. So, and now I've found out how to get to Coatbridge. Last time I went, it was one of those things on Gumtree. I think it was 9 o'clock at night already when the advert went up and the guy said he was out just now, so I just drove. I basically just typed the number into the sat nav and followed it blindly. This time I've had a wee look at Google Maps and I realised that the route that it took me was very, very cross country. This is a much more boring and easy to know where I am version. It is a lovely day. I'll show you now. This is Muirhead. There's a guy on a bike, and that's the motorway into Glasgow I've just gone over. So this way is not as exciting. I mean, I kind of knew the sat nav was taking me on a wild goose chase when I was doing it. When you're sitting there and you're turning down single track lanes that have just got like just hedges and no signs or anything like that. You're kind of a good place for a murder. But it made Coatbridge seem like this mystical far off land that involved going across like a mad labyrinth of twisty roads to get to, when in actuality it's about 5 minutes away from a roundabout that I'm always going round. If I had more time I would actually go and pick up my pal's SG. He just texts me there, but I'm kind of cutting it for time to get back to do the live stream. So I shall do that during the week. I also took this opportunity to get my sunglasses out, because when our aviator's not cool, Civic Beer loves them. which it doesn't. It's just be ridiculous. But the thing is, I don't understand when she's a Tom Cruise fan, likes Top Gun. I mean, nothing more Top Gun than these sunglasses, and I don't think they ever go out of fashion since they were introduced in the 40s or whatever it is. For people like me. So I think that's probably me. I might actually film some of this at his garage, depending on what the surroundings are like. The guy seems brand new, but it's more just sort of whether actually I'll film it, but whether I actually put it up for public viewing is another matter. But it means that I can remember everything that he told me, because last time he told me things about the Jensen Telecaster that I think I actually mentioned them in the car on the way home, and therefore in the video. So because I'd done that, I remembered them. So I might have to do something like that again. Should be fun. Trade Tuesday's turning into a bit of a donations Tuesday, actually. I quite like it. But there are, I think it's the original plan for this thing was, from the very start, I've said this lots of times, was to try and get like a guitar I wanted with my YouTube money. And the first month I did, just ended up buying 2 guitars that I wanted with it, I think it was 70 quid or 80 quid I got for 2 months worth of YouTubing. And I basically just bought 2 guitars that are really good, like an Ibanez Blazer, which is like a really good Strat, and an Aria Pro Laser. The Blazer and the Laser, which is like a sort of like a P bass a bit, the one that looks a bit like Cliff Burton's bass. It's on the same page. So I'm going to do a video this week. I'm going to look out my flares, denim flares, my denim jacket, and use my new Morley Fuzzwah pedal. And I'm going to play For Whom the Bell Tolls as a sort of tribute to him, and the fact that I've got a bass that's from the same page in the catalogue as him, and a modern version of a Morley Fuzzwah, which is what he was using, and I'll play the same song. So that's a plan. I still need to work it out. I need to Roawa pedals. Something I've never had set up long enough to fully understand how it works. Rather than just going whack whack whack, full on. It's like the sort of partial wahing is takes a little bit of practice, which I need to get myself into a little bit. I'm also thinking it'll be interesting to see if this actually happens to turns into anything. But I'm thinking of having a pedal of the week. Maybe starting on a Monday, I will dig out, because I very rarely use pedals. A lot of them properly. I've basically got about 20 sitting there. 10 are in a loop sitting on top of my amp, which I don't think I've even turned them on since I moved them, and the other ones I've just got a rake of fuzz pedals. And just now I'm sort of using mostly the Joyo US Dream, which is apparently a sort of copy or a clone of the Sir Riot pedal, which is kind of like a sort of, the guy who gave it to me, Ian, said it's sort of like it's like amp distortion, which is fine. So I'm kind of using that, and then I'm using a few fuzz pedals. I've still got my Rat, but I don't use it as much anymore. I've gone off that a little bit. The Mosky Rat, and then I've got the twin note fuzz, which I use quite a lot. It's sort of somewhere between fuzz and distortion. And then I've got my Gerlamo one, which is like a fuzz face, which is pure horrible, and I love it. And then I've got the Super, the one that was made by somebody's uncle in Yorkshire, handmade Super fuzz copy. That's pretty good as well. So, but basically I've just got all these fuzz pedals lined up, just set in sort of cascading amounts of gain. So what I should really do is if I look at one pedal and then just use that for all my demos for a week, and I'll try and get the 2 sounds out that I want. Basically I want no pedal on, I want a sort of breaking up but still kind of clean distortion-y sound, and then an all-out distortion-y sound, all-out Sabbath. So I'll maybe faff about with the pedals and just decide what ones are good at doing one and what ones are good at doing other, and what they actually do, rather than just do what I always do, which is just put them in the boards, fiddle with it till I get a sound I like, and it stays there for a year, so I'm going to do a wee bit more messing about with them. And I think I might put it out as Fuzz Thursday. Someone was making that joke on in the live chat the other night, talking about Thursday, and it's Lister from Red Dwarf is the only person that spells Thursday with an F, apart from me, who's now going to going to do that for a bit of humour. I might even put a bit more humour out. The first Thursday might not necessarily ever come out on a Thursday. Put it out on any other day. I've still got a big bag of distortion pedals. I've got a V for, not distortion pedals, of fuzz pedals to sort of try out. So there needs to be a big fuzz, another big fuzz fest. And I really want to make an effort. So I wonder if I should make, I'm just thinking out loud now, I wonder if I should make the, like, 2 pedals. So I've got like a distortion-y one, and then I've got some mad pedal that I never use, you know, like tremolo or chorus or flanger or phaser, one of those ones, and then just try and force myself to use it for a week and then see what happens. So a lot of these things happen, it's when you get stuck with a guitar, suddenly you spend a little bit of time on it and then you get used to it. Believe it or not, I never used to like Telecasters. My pal Peg had one, a really nice sort of midnight blue purple one, which I've argued with for about 20 years that it's purple. It is purple, but then he showed me the actual catalogue and it's called Midnight Blue, but it's still purple, even though it says blue on it. Yeah, that, and I never liked it at all. And then I think one time we were having a jam somewhere. I don't know, was he playing bass? Why was I playing his guitar? I don't know, but I was stuck with his guitar for, you know, like half an hour or an hour at some sort of jam, and it totally clicked. I was like, right, I now understand what a Telecaster does, why it's good, and everything. So I think that there's an element of that can happen with any pedal. You've just got to be stuck with it. That's kind of what I'm thinking with using the fuzz pedals. If I've got to use it, you know, I've got to just try and find the 2 usable sounds and see what I end up with, and then maybe have a bit of a clear up and maybe not have 20 odd pedals sitting on the floor ready to run, and maybe just have one and rotate it round, and that might actually come to absolutely nothing. I might never do that. I might just keep it the way it is. It takes ages to try and work out how to connect up all the things and all the, you know, the usual pedal board problems of where do you put the wires, and some of them need a T-junction power adapter, and some of them need L-shaped leads, and some of them don't, and I might just leave it. Anyway, that's me now getting to where I know this is Bargedi Roundabout, which I've gone round hundreds of times, and rather than having gone across hundreds of fields, I'm at somewhere I know. Now I'm turning off at here, and I haven't typed anything into the sat nav, so I'm going to have to stop and do that and just hope that it finds a signal. If I can turn it on just now, give it a chance to try and find its satellite. Right, so off into the unknown. What happens when you go left at that roundabout? I've gone straight ahead at thousands of times. I've been right lots of times on it as well. My pal Jim, you still have one there. This is new. It's a nice area, this bit. Okay, I shall give you a buzz back once I find them. Hey, and the deal is done. Ended up getting some stuff. I should really have probably taken a video of this guy's garage, but he was saying that I think one of the reasons he's getting rid of the guitars is because it got broken into. So I think that's basically what I was thinking. I think some of these guitars have sat there for decades, unloved. But yeah, no, it's looking interesting. I will have plenty of time to make it back to doing my live stream tonight. I will probably introduce you to the guitars a little bit. Maybe by Tuesday I will have a bit more of a plan, have a chance of actually had a look at them. The Futurama is a mad looking thing. It's got quite a bit of scratch plate left on it. It's got one original pickup, and then the scratch plate's kind of got pickups built into it, well, one built into it, so I'm hoping that I can find pickups that fit in below the scratch plate and try and keep as much of the original scratch plate as possible. I'm not sure about painting it or stripping it down. It looks really old because it is. So I'll have a wee bit of Futurama surfing to do tonight after the live stream. Actually, I'll look it up and see what ideas I've got. The bridge on it looks mental. It's half there. It kind of looks like somebody's made it in craft and design in school. So I'm wondering I might actually be able to make the bits flathead screws and stuff like that, not really guitar-y bits. It's got 6 tuners, but one of them's missing the wee plastic peg on it. So I've been tempted to try and make them work. Maybe strip them down, wire brush them, put them back together again, and then see if I can buy the wee plastic or pull it off another guitar, or some way of making the wee plastic tuner button with a headstock on it. I also got an amp, one of those, it looks like a PA, I'm not really sure, it's kind of like in a can. Have you ever seen amps in a can? It's kind of like that, apart from I don't think it's, I think it's more of a sort of a public address system. I don't think it runs on batteries though. You guys no idea if it works or not, so it might be an interesting thing. I've no idea what I could do with it. I didn't even take everything he had. He offered me a PA speaker, which looked pretty nice, but I mean, to be honest, it would just sit next to my PA speakers and never get used, so it's not a thing. So it's been an accident here. That people just decided to have a good chat on a roundabout. Some sort of accident. Yeah, it was, and I picked up a bass cabinet as well. I'm not sure what make. It looks in quite good condition. I think he said it was a Carlsborough. Used to be a combo, but there's no amp in it anymore, so it's just like a one. But it was at the back, and he said, "Oh, I suppose you want a bass cabinet." I was thinking, please be a 4x10 or a 2x10. It's not. It's a 1x15. But hey, you never have too many bass speakers, I suppose. Probably I can't get it to work. I do actually have an amp that goes with it. I've got an old 200 watt Marshall that I bought 20 years ago that is missing a fuse holder, but apart from that it works. So maybe that would run quite nicely into that cabinet. It might even fit, depending on what size the actual amplifier bit that you took out, it might even fit inside it, which would be pretty cool. I've got a funny feeling that the amp I've got is like a rack mountable thing, but it's got like a head unit that rack mounts into. I'm probably thinking that the actual unit thing that takes the rack mount is probably worth more money than what the amp is. So if it goes in there, it might be quite nice to have a wee 200 watt Marshall combo. It's just, as I said, it's a shame that the speaker cabinet is a 15-inch, because obviously my wee Marshall 150 watt is a 15-inch as well. So I could run 2 15-inch speakers, I suppose, from it, but I would rather it was 2 10s. Maybe have a wee look at. I've had a look at buying speakers before. It's just, it wouldn't actually be that difficult to convert. Or you just take out the baffle board and put in a baffle board that takes, another bit of plywood. It's cut to take 10-inch speakers, but I need to buy 10-inch speakers. And I've got a funny feeling when you start looking at buying individual speakers, you're up at £150 each or something like that anyway. So it's like, whether it's really worth it. If not, I might donate it to Ali's studio, because he's got a Hughes & Kettner 150, 200 watt bass amp with a 1x15. So maybe you could maybe sit it on top of that one and run both cabinets out it or something. If it's not going to work. Yeah, what else did I get? The Satellite Les Paul. I think it'll just be a Bucky Les Paul. I think it looks all right. It's one of those ones you will see if you look them up on eBay. You will see folk trying to sell them for 200-300 quid as a Japanese guitar, and it's like, it's a Japanese guitar, just like Edwards and Orville. They're worth thousands of pounds. So it's like it's not in that league. It's a cheapy plywood thing, but it will still have mojo. It's missing all its appointments. And the Flying V says made in Japan in the back of it, so I'm wondering it might actually be the same as my Arbiter. No, the Arbiter says steel adjustable neck, it's an Aria, but something like that. Scratch plate is broken. I think they actually played it. I think it's got strings on it. If it's got strings on it, it implies it's got tuners, and it's got a bridge, I suppose. So I don't know, make a fun Flying V. Again, looking at it though, the Les Paul neck on it looks to fit alright. It's missing the 20th fret or something missing, so I need to put another fret in it. But I really can't have a Les Paul type headstock on a Flying V. It's got to be a Flying V type headstock, so I'll be looking at possibly drawing around the headstock of my Flying V to try and see, depending on where the tuner holes are, it'd be nice if I could make a Flying V roughly shaped headstock for it out of the Les Paul neck, then fling a couple of some things in it, possibly buckify it, maybe bucky Flying V. Have I done an Iron Brew Flying V? I think I have. Or a drip Flying V. Because I'd really get back into have another go at doing this, the hydro painting when I get a big bucket. Because I think the reason it stopped working was because it was too cold outside, so the paint wasn't reacting wrong. Whereas now I think, since it's quite sunny, I might have a wee go at some drippy things. I'm going to have a go at my Washburn. It's a Raven just now, but I'm going to make it a Starling or a Magpie or whatever it is, whatever I decide to do with it. It's basically going to be a Washburn wing that's got P90s in it. I need to have a wee look at P90s and maybe buying some more. I do like P90s. I'm actually looking at was it Jackson I talked about on the way over here. That's quite picturesque today. And it's was originally a 2 humbucker guitar, and the previous owner has filled in the neck pickup, so it's just a 1 humbucker guitar. So I'm thinking, do I really want to be a 1 humbucker? Do I want to put something else in it? Because it's all been filled, I can really put anything in. So do you want a P90 in a blood splattered Jackson type body? Don't know. Got a bit of view coming up. This is me just it's quite nice. This is me just coming into Lindsay. But it's green. It's quite warm. It's 7 o'clock. Do I buy a kebab? It's awful tempting to buy a kebab, I'll tell you that. I definitely need to eat something before I have my bucky tonight, otherwise I'll end up piddling drunk again. I will anyway, because I just don't drink enough anymore. You need to have some sort of tolerance built up. It's just like, I used to drink 3 bottles of bucky a week, now I drink 1 a week, or not even, drink 3/4 of a bottle a week. Half of which I do on my live stream until I start feeling a bit lightheaded and then stop it off. Yeah. So really, I don't think I've really been doing anything else interesting. I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of the Trade Tuesday. Probably try to sell some stuff. I was going to put on some things for sale tonight. I might still do that. Is it that annoyingly the perfect time to put things on is about now, 7 o'clock, and then expecting lots of phone calls between 7 and 9 sort of thing to sell it. But I'm doing the live stream, so ideally I'd want to be able to reply quickly. If someone says, I'll take it, after 5 minutes, I want to be able to reply and go, yeah, no problem, it's yours, rather than sitting there waiting for 2 hours. By that time they've forgotten about it and end up with a big queue of lots of people who want to buy it. I've had this problem before. One of the bucky casters, 2 guys both wanted it, and they were both at exactly 7:16 or something. Like I couldn't decipher between the two of them, and the only way I could get around it, they were both dead keen. I was like, you're right, I'm going to put it up for sale again at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, whoever's first. So I put it on at exactly 7. One of them got in first. It got that way with bucky casters at one point, where I was selling them quicker than I could build them. And it's like I didn't want to sell. People are going, I'll buy the next one off you, and it's like, I've not built the next one yet, so I buy it anyway. It's like, I don't even know what it is it's going to be. And it's dead hard. It's like, or can I custom order it? And it's like, yeah, but in order to keep them cheap, I have to use what I've got lying about. So the idea of, I might stick a P90 in it, that's great, yeah, totally. But if I don't have a P90, a lot of the time I just look in the box and see what there is kicking about, what I can do to make it a bit more exciting. Yeah. So I get a fish supper or kebab. Fish supper's probably not as bad for me. Kebab. Kebab. Do I get a sahiwal kebab? Sahiwal or a mahal? I think I'll go for a sahiwal kebab. Rockin'. Oh, and I gave the guy a t-shirt as well after on the way out. He seemed quite pleased with it. It's like, calm down your pleasedness. It's not really that good, I think. But yeah. So I'm now on Woodstock Avenue. I imagine this might have been built in '68. Would that be why we call it Woodstock? One of the ones that's always easy to remember. So I suppose I'm kind of wanting to talk for another 2 minutes until I get to the kebab shop, and I can show you the other kebab shop, the one I used to go to, which is about the same distance from Old House as the Mahal is, but the Mahal is closer to my new house. And actually one of the reasons I'm coming here is because there's a wee newsagent next to it which might sell Rockstar. It always did. So he's always got a great selection of energy drinks, so I should be able to get some in there while I'm waiting for my kebab to get bursts made. So this is the newsagent closed. That's pretty annoying. That parking space is where I used to always park, but it's now, they've now put disabled on it. I'm going to probably have turned off the camera. I might not. Right. Hey YouTube! So I've kind of skirted over these on the live stream on Sunday, so the bit of the video you just watched was on Sunday before I did my live stream, and now it's Tuesday. So I've had a wee look at, this is the George Harrison Futurama Foreign, is what it says on it here. So I'm really not sure what to do with it. I've been looking at the neck, and the neck looks mental. I don't know if it's really, it's I'm really not sure whether I'm going to be able to restore this. It's like, I don't want to put a new neck on it. The neck on it feels actually really good, but it's got quite a lot of frets left. I think this might be a refret. So although the neck seems to do that a bit, I'm wondering if I can level the frets so the frets are straight, whether the neck does this and the frets just go over the top. Not sure. A wee bit to go. It does have a bridge pickup, a middle pickup in behind that's built into the scratch plate sort of thing. It's not connected. I don't know if it works yet. The bridge is mental and is missing bits. Not sure if I'm going to be able to get parts for it. So this is still a bit of an unknown. It is pretty cool though, and it's like the whole George Harrison thing has me sold. This is a 1960 or a 1961 one apparently, because it's got a Telecaster type headstock. The one that George Harrison's got, it's got a 3-a-side headstock. So this is slightly earlier than George Harrison's one, I think. Obviously there used to be switches in this bit that looks a bit like a soap dish. So there's quite a lot that can be done to this. I was talking to my pal in Denmark, and he was saying, oh, you've got to do it properly. And it's like, I think properly is going to cost £1,000 to buy if you're going to try and find the parts that are missing. So basically I want to make it do a sort of sympathetic restoration where I will perhaps cut the scratch plate across the middle and replace the bottom bit, but leave as much of it as I can. I'd love to be able to get this bridge working. There appears to be these wee bits here that are on springs. These are like wee tubes, so the strings actually go into the back behind where the springs are and come through. There's only 3 of them, so whether I can buy the other 3 bits, and then it's got what looks like a sort of tunematic-y bridge bit sits on top of this. So there's a wee bit to be done with this, and It's one of those ones I'm going to have to sit and look at. This is not going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks, I don't think. It's just, it's old, and the neck doesn't seem to be super straight, although it's thick enough. So you would think it possibly would. Also, I've got a feeling the truss rod might be over tightened, because it seems to be bending back a little bit. Really, what I really want to do is find some way of attaching strings to this bridge, and then tuning it up, seeing if it plays, to see what I'm going for. Because there's no point in, you know, yeah, it's a kind of difficult one. Yeah, so I'm not going to be playing any music this week or today. This is Satellite Les Paul, which is just basically very dirty. I think I'll get my polishing compound out on this baby and basically just rebuild it, I think. Satellite, I'm going for, these were a sort of late 70s brand made in Korea, I think. Doesn't say Japan on it, and it's like, it's got this shape of plate holding the neck on, which is kind of Korean-y looking, a wee bit scratched as well. Yeah, but I think maybe just put this back together again. And this Satellite, who I'm aiming for selling this to is someone who had one of these. So you're looking at someone who's maybe in his 50s or her 50s and had a Satellite Les Paul when they were 16 and then sold it, and then kind of always really liked that guitar and wants to relive their youth. That's the ideal person who would buy something like this. A similar thing happened to me with a Hondo Fame series that I had. I bought it for, I think it was 70 quid or something like that, and sold it for 250. And I just happened to find the exact right guy who needed that guitar in the exact colour it was. And when I went out and met him in the street, because he couldn't find my house at my last house, and he was just like, his eyes were like saucers. He was like, this is fate, can't believe it. And I was like, okay. And apparently he was been in a band when he was at school, like 30 years ago or something like that. And then just a couple of weeks before my advert had come up, he'd got a phone call out the blue going, "Be alright, how's it going, Jim," or whatever. We're going to get together, get a bit of a drink up, go to the studio and have a bit of a jam, relive the old band thing. Do you want to come in? And he was like, "Oh yeah, brilliant." And when he was in his band, the band originally, his dad had one of these, the Hondo Fame, and that was the one that used to all fight over who was going to play it, because it was the best guitar in the band. And I had obviously showed him one, and he was just looking at it. He was just like, I was like, maybe it's the same one. He's like, no, the one I had was all scratched and dented. But so it goes to the right person. So if it goes to the right person, this could be a wee bit of a money spinner for me. I don't know, probably about £100 or something like that once it's running. Put decent hardware on it. It's plywood with a sort of a plywood top bent over sort of blocks. Very common for this era. They did them from Japan as well. Basically, there's a hell of a lot of difference between this and your grants and things like that. So this is a post lawsuit because it doesn't have the proper Gibson headstock on it. That probably dates it to probably early 80s actually. But I need to do a wee bit of looking up on this. So it's just a plain old Les Paul. Hold on, I'm just going to decline that. I'll phone her back in a minute. Yep, so where are we at now? Oh yeah, so a bit of an update. Trade Tuesday, I put this up for sale last night. This is the Raleigh Les Paul, and it's gone. It's swapped. I swapped it for an Ibanez S series. Take the hint. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah, so it's gone. I've swapped it for an Ibanez S Sabre SA series, which looks rather nice. I put this up for sale as well, and it sold in 10 minutes. Wee Jedson Telecaster to a Jedson fan from Fife, I think he said he was, somewhere on the East Coast. So this will be getting picked up during the week as well. This wasn't a swap, this was just cash, which is fine. I can do that. What else? Oh, I've got the V. In fact, this is the one I was talking about. I picked it up, so I reckon this could very well be a Hondo Les Paul neck, which I think has been sanded a little bit to make it look, maybe not actually. No, I don't think it has. So this is a proper lawsuit one, because it does have the sort of mustachy thing on it. Still got the original tuners are quite on the rusty side. In fact, actually, my pal Alan was talking. He's got a grant that he was looking for a tuner for. I wonder if that's what these came from. Still has a bridge, plastic saddles, and a cool sort of stop tail bit that's just screwed onto the body. It does actually say made in Japan on the neck plate, so it's been a Randy Rhodesy one at some point. So an interesting flying V. I do like flying Vs, and it's a proper flying V shape. So some sort of mad conversion going on here. I do need to make the headstock more flying V shaped though, so I'm thinking of, you know, if there's a way of cutting it so it's, I'll need to lay my arbiter on top of it and see if it's doable to make it triangular shaped without these thingies, the tuner holes being in the wrong place. I'll do a wee bit of building up, assuming this neck's going to be alright. I don't know, it does actually, it kind of plays, sort of. These strings are probably 20 years old. This stuff's been sitting in a garage for decades, I think. Yeah, so Flying V, very interesting. Looking forward to making this one. I do like a Flying V, very much so. Especially if it's a Japanese one. It's a Japanese one, so it might be plywood. It's been hand painted at some point. I think there's a bit there. I can probably peel it off and see if it is. It's kind of hard to tell. It could be. It could be. Whatever. Nice weight to it. So Flying V coming up at some time in the future. I don't know yet. I was talking about this Jackson, which my pal Nico Scythe did. He's blood spattered it. He said his wife was absolutely screamed when she went into the shed after he'd done this, because like the whole shed was just blood splattered. Cause I think he kind of literally just had it against the wall and just went with a paintbrush from a distance. So I think it looked like he'd been doing some really dodgy stuff. This is one I'm not sure. This is quite a good Strat neck. Is it, for some reason I want it to be a dark shape. I'm not sure whether it really wants a Strat, because it's not really a Strat body. It's more of a pointy body, so maybe more of a pointy guitar headstock. Normally pointy guitar headstocks are dead difficult to get rid of, because you buy cheap Strats and they've got a horrible pointy headstock. This kind of seems like a waste to put a Strat neck on it. Possibility of putting the neck from, is that it there actually? It's not. Whatever I did with the neck from the Hello Kitty, which is a Telecaster headstock, but I don't think this one's a Telecaster headstock either. Yeah, so a Jackson. This has had this pickup's been filled in, so it's just a single pickup. It's also got a really good trem on it. So I'm undecided what to do with this. It's not really my style, but it's interesting. He's done too good a job of the ink splatter for me to paint it, I think, because it looks pretty good. Blood splatter even. Yep. What else are we going for? Oh, I was talking about this as well. This is the Squire Strat I put on, and the neck of this is on the Hello Kitty, and I'm going to put this. Doesn't quite fit on yet. I need to do a wee bit of alteration, but it kind of almost fits, but not quite. So I'm thinking Strat with reverse headstock, and this is when I was talking about possibly putting the left-handed scratch plate on, which if you bear with me 2 seconds, I can go and find out, because I'm pretty sure I saw it lying in the floor through here just yesterday. The backwards scratch plate. And nope, it's I've tidied it up, so I'll need to look that out to get the to see if the backward scratch plate's going to work, because this scratch plate's got this white circle on it where it used to have a sticker. It's been on it for 20 years, so I kind of think it'd be better with a new scratch plate anyway, and then maybe coil adder splitting or something like that. And I've got some screws to replace because they're a bit rusty. Yeah, so that'll be a left-handed. Or not a left-handed, a right-handed but upside down headstock Squire Strat, which I think is just different enough to be of interest. But it's not even the final thing. Where's the other thing? Sorry, I've not planned ahead very well with this. I can't say no to things. So here is what at first looks like a fire extinguisher. It's an Ada box made in Scotland. It's a 20 watt portable PA. I've since had a wee bit of a look up at it. Can't really find that much about them apart from it does have a battery in it, and it charges with some sort of charger using like an XLR connector on it. So what I need to do is I need to find the charger, what voltage it is. I find you can still buy the charger for 25 quid, but it's likely just going to be 12 volts or something like that, and I've got lots of bits of old laptop charger and stuff, and I'm thinking, if it's only to charge a battery, as long as the voltage is sort of right, I should be able to make the adapter for it. And this could be an interesting, I'm thinking, bass amp for the wee Steinberger when I go to Download Festival. You know, it should be good, assuming it works. I've no idea if testing it works. It's kind of, I don't want to spend 25 quid on the charger for it to find out that it doesn't work. So I'm going to have to try and take it to bits. If anyone knows anything about Adabox, there's an Adabox Courier made in Scotland, 0131, so at least it's made after they put the extra 1 into the serial number, into the phone numbers. That looks like a jack input socket there as well for some reason. Interesting. These also come with there's wee screws to put like a guitar strap on it so you can have it hanging under your arm while you're playing. Yeah, so I'll do something with that. It looks really cool. It'd be really cool if it did work. And the last thing is in the corner there, a wee bass cabinet. I was in this guy's garage and he's like, "Pierre, you don't have any use for a wee bass cabinet, do you?" And I was thinking, if it's a 4x10 or a 2x10, I totally do, because a 4x10 or a 2x10 sitting on top of that would be fantastic. And so I went and dug it out, and then when I got it out, it's a 1x15, which is a shame because that's already got a 1x15 in it. So it used to be an amp of some sort. If anyone knows what kind of amp that was, I don't know. So the head's missing. And that Marshall I bought 25 years ago from the sound guy in Strathclyde Union, and I think I paid 50 quid for it. I have used it for a couple of bands I tried to join, or I joined and then they never went anywhere, so it's been used and it did work. I've since robbed the fuse holder out the back of it, so it doesn't have a fuse holder on it, so I've actually got one in my parts box. It's been in there for 20 years, I've just never bothered to actually do anything with. So I might re-put that back in again, put the fuse back in. There's no point in not working. So I tart it up a bit. It's a 200 watt Marshall and it's a biamp system. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, biamp, was like, so you can run 2 cabinets. I'm thinking for the Sabbath band, it might be quite cool to have like a bass speaker and then have like another one on top, another half of the amp, another amp on top running just the fuzz. So I get all the bass and all the fuzz on top of it without having to compromise. Whether that'll work or not, I don't know. But that amp actually, it's like it's in a rack mount case, and I reckon it fits exactly into that cabinet. So worst case, I might just put that amp into the cabinet, and I've got a 200 watt Marshall bass amp. That's only 150, so could be louder, might be better than that one. It's a good bit older. I think it's what does it say? It's a 200 watt integrated bass system. I think they're late 80s. It's also got a sticker on the back from a famous band. Yeah, see? It's got a bit of an elastoplast with gun written on it, making me think, I don't see why anyone would put gun on the back of an amp unless they were gigging it. So it's a famous amp. Yeah, so there we go. So not actually any playing today. I'm in the studio tonight with the Black Sabbath. But that's kind of where all the projects are at. So that's kind of why people keep sending me links to messages to things on Facebook and Facebook Marketplace, you know, like Square Strats for 50 quid and stuff, and it's like, I need to get rid of some. I need to get rid of loads before I could really take any more on, because these are all, none of these are easy fixes. You know, it's like, it's a day sitting fidgeting with something like this, decided what it is I'm going to do with it. This is a funny one. It really hinges on the neck. I need to either get a flying V neck or get a neck that I can chop down to be a flying V, for me to be happy with this, and then it'll be pretty good. I'll make another scratch plate out of the checker plate, and then paint it something. I don't really know. The neck actually feels kind of alright. It's got a fair amount of frets left in it. It's missing a fret, so I need to replace the 21st fret. It's also been spray painted red at some point, so there's a wee bit of fixing it up, and the guitar really is pretty chipped and gloss painted 40 years ago, so it could be interesting. fun times ahead. So I've got a lot of guitar building to do. I'm going to stick another few up for sale tomorrow night. I've still got the Squire 51. I've still got the Squire 51. No one's bought that one yet. I didn't bring that one through. It's in my rack of things that are for sale. So if anyone's looking to swap something for that, that'd be cool. And there's several more that are maybe just not quite ready to go up for sale yet. So that was Trade Tuesday. I was quite impressed with last week's one, but just because I had more time, I kind of worked out that I went out and got something, came back, had a wee jam, and then went out again and got something else, and came back and had a wee jam. Whereas this one, I've not bought any guitars at work. So I can't really have a wee jam. So rock on, catch you later.